Hello. Well, apparently I am live. If not, yes. Well, I hope that you're having a pleasant evening, if it's evening where you are, or a pleasant time of it, I should say, to make it more broader. Um, I thought it was about time we had a little chat together. It's been some time, I know, and lots of things have been going on, particularly with the new Spiritualist Society UK. We've had lots and lots of people join, and people from other societies and organisations showing an interest, which is quite interesting, isn't it? And we've welcomed new ministers who've come to us as well. And just recently, we've been contacted by a minister who is very interested in our aims and objectives, and the fact that we concentrate very much on mediumship. And, absolutely, we're here to promote genuine mediumship. That's absolutely truthful, honest communication between this world and the world of spirit through mediumship, and the promotion of genuine mediums. And we don't make any exclusiveness or anything about anybody. If what you do is communicate well between this world and the next, and are able to give people the comfort that they need, and it's all properly done, and we don't tell people how to do it, or whether they should charge for their services or not, or anything else like that. So we're just basically old-fashioned mediums and spiritualists. There you are. And of course, within that nomenclature of mediums and mediumship includes all facets of mediumship, which is trance, various kinds of healing, and demonstrations, and of course we also accept people who use other tools to assist their elevation, including, dare I say it, cards and even stones, and you name it, they can use it. And I think that people who read tea leaves, for instance, although tea bags might have to be broken in order to read them, there's nothing wrong with that either. And when it comes to sort of prophesying and fortune telling, that's got a bad name. But the fact is this: that if people would like to know, what's in store for them, and it's an innocent inquiry and requires innocent answering, I don't see anything wrong with that. Of course, what's wrong is the stuff where people sort of generalise and give sort of rather bad prospects and things like that, and that's sort of not us. Those things aren't us. I'm going to say hello to people. I have to look up here now. Are Reverend Alan Acton and dear Tammy and dear Darren. How lovely. Yeah, so the thing about mediums is, there's always been mediums, and the detractors of spiritualism and mediums, which is often the same thing actually, forget that people like Moses and Socrates, even St. Paul and Jesus, Mohammed, and all the old-fashioned mediums that we know of in our modern spiritualist history, like Emma Harding Britten and Dr. Hayden and Reverend William Staten Moses and Reverend Vale Owen and all those wonderful people. And of course we can't forget all the more modern and more, therefore, more popularly well-known mediums there are, and have been of the last few years. And when you think about dear Reverend Colin Fry, because he did indeed become an ordained minister, I actually recommended him a few years before he decided to actually to take that upon himself. And he was actually the education officer for the Noah's Ark Society, which was a society founded for the promotion of physical mediumship. And that's another thing that we are interested in as a society. And Reverend Alan Acton, of course, is a wonderful trance medium. We know that he gives trance broadcasts. If you get a chance, just look him up, Alan Acton, because he chooses not to use his title very much, but that's fine. He does wonderful broadcasts of trance mediumship, and to be congratulated for that. The thing is, in the old days, they used to say that trance mediumship wasn't for public performance, and you could only have a sort of a chosen coterie of people who would come to a trance demonstration. But in fact, Colin was in the forefront of the revolution, if you like, because he would have public demonstrations of trance with his guide Magnus, and it was very, very, very interesting, very, very compelling. One of the reasons that people say that they don't like trance mediumship, or don't promote it very much, is that they say that it doesn't actually prove life after death. Well, I don't know who they think is speaking if it's not a spirit who's dead, but the mind boggles at that one. Certainly, I believe that if good teachings are given, you can tell, that these are otherworldly. They don't spring from this level of consciousness down here. You can hear the elevation in the thought, and particularly, with Colin, when he was demonstrating, you could very much tell the difference between, when he was communicating in trance with his control, and his own ordinary conscious voice and speaking mannerisms, and so on. And the same thing is with Reverend Alan Acton. You will actually hear the voice change in the timbre and the philosophy. And bless him, Reverend Alan, he's not over there yet, shall we say? And his guides are very, very, very wise. Anyway, and of course, the thing is that I also have been known to indulge, shall we say, in trance mediumship, although I never wanted to do it. I was always frightened of it. And that's the other thing that stops some people from actually participating in our way of life as sort of actual mediums, because they are frightened of it, and there's really nothing to be frightened of. I blame these ridiculous programs that they have on television, and the filmmakers who make frightening films about the afterlife and spirit return and things like that, and there's nothing frightening about it at all. And I was put off for ages, not wanting to do trance. I couldn't bear the thought of sort of letting go and letting somebody else actually inhabit my space. Well, of course, it actually doesn't happen like that at all. It's just the higher contact. So anyway, that's the thing. And in the Bible, that we often get bashed with, spiritualists get bashed with the Bible. It's actually full of spiritualist phenomena and psychical happenings. It's amazing. You have a read of it in the way that we understand it. When you see all these angels appearing and they all have a sort of a human form, well, of course they have, because they were once human. And I was told once, again, funnily enough, in a trance communication that was taped, so I heard it back. When an inquirer asked about alien life form. They were told that there were such, but they were not alien in essence, because all life forms in the cosmos were actually humanoid. So all intelligent life forms were humanoid. So I thought that was very interesting, and I'm passing that on to you. Well, I think that one of the other things. Oh, I thought one of the other things that we might do is actually look at healing in mediumship, because that's I think that perhaps that's the highest form of mediumship, is to be able to channel healing. And I say that advisedly, because people who are healers are actually channeling that healing from those other dimensions, those higher beings. And it really does work. And if you like, anybody can actually channel that purely by the idea of prayer. Because when you're praying for something, you're asking, and you're asking by praying on a very high level of consciousness. You're aspiring to the best and to the highest there is, and you're connecting your innermost high self to that highest without, and you will receive a stream of healing if you ask in that way. And you can ask for it to be directed at the person who's suffering. And absent healing in that way is very, very efficacious. And I've had good reason to be grateful for that, because my great granddaughter was prematurely born, and she needed a lot of healing. Of course, she had to have earthly medical interventions, and thank goodness for modern science. But really and truly, it was aided very much so by the prayers and the healing that she received. And she has improved much beyond the expectation of the earthly physicians. And she's doing very well. And she's only been here 5 days now, but she's doing well. And this is something that we can all do. I know that some people like to lord it over others and set themselves above other people and say, "Oh, of course, I'm a very good healer." But we can all be healers, and as long as we ask in a humble and honest way for healing for those we know of who need that comfort and that healing, that relief from pain or suffering, whatever it is they're going through, we can just ask. And yes, it's called prayer, but on an ordinary level, keeping it ordinary, we can just say, well, we can just ask for healing for people, and they get it. And of course, don't forget, we can ask for ourselves. So the other thing I was thinking, now I didn't know how many people might be interested enough to turn on them and tune in and so on. I was going to demonstrate a few messages, and I thought to myself, well, I'd probably do that looking at the who was watching, and just prove that this is what we can do. So I'm not sure really what I should do with that, but I could say, well, Tammy and Alan. Okay, well, I'll just take a sip of water. Just yes, quite. Cheers. Wet me whistle. And yes, I thought, why not? It's not right that one should be a medium, a certified medium, There are some who think I should be certified. I should have been certified a long time ago. Well, I was. Eventually, I was. And we shouldn't not do mediuming, and it's something that we should do. So okay, Tammy, you've asked, so I'll see who's here for you. Of course, we always get. I must give you a lovely green stone that somebody's come through. A lovely, lovely green stone. It's vibrant, and they're telling me that you really need this learning and upliftment, and it's absolutely glistening. It's beautiful, and I see. The problem is, you see, that because you yourself are a healer and medium, you get all these little guides rushing forward, and you have a lovely lady here with a long, long flowing cloak, and she says, "You know who I am," and she's showing you all sorts of beautiful things, all sorts of objects, and people have been bringing objects to where she was, where she lived, while she was down here, and putting them in her cave or something. And I'm just seeing this beautiful sort of like, it's like a waterfall, and there's all sorts of objects hanging and dangling. It's an amazing place, and she's sort of dancing around and swishing around this beautiful cloak, and she's saying, "I see, I see." On when I was talking about prophesying and fortune telling, um, I wonder if I'm supposed to put things on. I think I can do. Hold on a minute. Let's look. Show understood, because it's very important, isn't it, that we when we do give messages, that if they are understood and they are accepted and acceptable, that other people can see that, because otherwise there's no point to what we're doing other than to the individual, of course. But she was saying to me, sorry. She was saying to me about this prophesying, this fortune telling, and she said nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And she's, almost cackling and doing this with a finger, saying that sometimes people really need to know that things are going to work out well for them, and you particularly, Tammy. And you've had some ups and downs. You've had some ups and downs. That's how she's putting it. Had some ups and downs, and she's very can I say, I was going to say sort of old English in her manner. She's sort of almost rooted to England and its history, and she's absolutely linked into you and your family, and she's looking at your boys, and she's saying they have a bright future, and she's showing me this wonderful green, sparkly, sort of vibrant stone, and saying, this is for them, and they're going to really succeed, both of them, and it's not going to be too long now, she says. Not too long now. You've just got to be a bit patient. You're never patient, she says. Never patient. But she said you're going to have to try, because September is a good month for you, by the way, September. She's talking about an anniversary in December. And she's saying everybody likes Christmas, and you've had a bit of a rough time of it, but you'll have a good Christmas this year, she says. Which is nice, isn't it? So there you are. And she says, and don't forget, I'm fortune telling, she says. There you are. So, and she says, you're not averse to having a look at the cards, apparently. Oh, your birthday, September. Hang on a minute. I'll show that. Birthday, September. This just proves that this lady who's warbling on does know you, and knows a thing or two. But she said you're going to get a present. That's the whole point, that you'll get a special present. So obviously it's significant. You'll remember that. Also, you are okay. She said you've been thinking about getting some new clothes, and and she loves it when we think about new clothes, because she said she didn't really have new clothes, but she would always love to look at people and admire their clothes, because it wasn't so easy back in her day, she says. So I'll leave you with that, dear Tammy. I hope that you enjoyed that. I love that. I wonder what that's about. Okay, thank you. I no idea what she said. I'm just repeating it. Do not shoot the messenger. Oh, great seeing my face. Oh well. Well, it seemed like most people of my age, it's seen better days, and really better days. I did used to have fun. But yeah, so no, you're so welcome. You're so welcome, Tammy. So welcome. And now where are we? Reverend Alan. Reverend Alan. I must give you love. You've got so many people. Bless you. You have so many people over there who. I mean, it's been so difficult for you. The fact is that it looks like a brother and a sister there. I'm not sure if that's correct. Reverend Alan, are you there? Not is anybody there? Is Reverend Alan there still with us? Because it would be nice if you could say yes or no to that. But just to oh, Alan, hold on. There we are. You see, we're doing well here. So that they're all having a wonderful time without you, and your brother's got a really yes. Hang on, look, see what he's doing. He's feeding the medium. They were. Yes, I was about to say to you. Oh no, I did say yes. That's right. They did come in first. Yes, sorry. Okay, I'm apologising to them now. He's having a good laugh. You must have tripped over or something. He's saying you're clumsy. I can't repeat the second bit, but it begins with a B and ends with an R. He says you're a clumsy, and he sort of says you really got to look where you're going, and take it easy. And they're all having some fun, and they're looking at greeting you more. There's some celebration going on in June, they're telling me. So again, we're looking forward to summer, and there are things you'd like to get done. I think you're looking round to sort of, tart your place up a bit, Alan. Maybe you're thinking about that because he's sort of listening into your thoughts there. He's saying that you haven't been. Okay, I'll just put that up, just so we know that they're not, that they are who they say they are. That's the main thing, isn't it? That people must be identified and must say who they are. I get a Mark who wants to be remembered to you, Alan, who's on the other side now, and Colin's having a good laugh, by the way, and he's saying you're doing all right. And he's actually been trying to help you. Did you know that, Alan? So Colin has been there trying to help you. Now, I don't know what you're not sure about, but anyway, I'll put that up. You're not sure, whatever it was that you're not sure. Perhaps you're not sure whether you are going to sort of do any kind of improvements to your place where you live. There's such a lot of goings on over there. You're doing different things now. Your trance is going well, apparently. And they're all very interested in that. Now, They didn't seem so interested in it all while they were down here, shall we say. But they're mighty interested in what you're doing now with spirit. Now they're over there. Oh, you are decorating. Oh, hold on a minute. There we are. He is decorating. There we are. So he is doing it. Yeah, so they obviously know that. Isn't that good? That's really good. And unfortunately, I'm not going to say anything about what they think about what you're doing. Because your brother was not really like you in a way, if you know what I mean. So he wasn't, shall we say, as artistic as you are. So he's not really the best person to decide whether what you're doing is nice or not really. And I think your sister's looking at your bedding and thinking you could probably do with some new sheets. So there you are. Yeah, Alan is there agreeing with that description. And can we have a comment on the sheets? Or you'd rather not? They can be really embarrassing, but I think, dear Alan, he's a yes. Oh dear. The thing is this, you know, that when they tell us to do things, they don't provide us with the money. Oh, wait a minute. Well, you'll get a little bit more in the summer months. There you are. And they said also that you need to be getting on with this book. You need to be getting on with this book, Alan. So whatever that is, some writing that you're doing or that you have to do that you're putting off. I think perhaps you have to do that. So Alan, there's only good things there. There's only good things for you. I can see ahead. They're showing me ahead, and I can just see lovely things, and they want to give you these lovely flowers, and you know it's just beautiful. There's so much love, so much love. Oh, right, okay. Look, about the things. Yes. This is about the book, I believe, right? So I say lots of love to you from those on the other side of life. They know that you miss them. They're happy that you miss them, but they don't want you to be so miserable about it. They said, don't forget that you're a medium and you know that they're there. And otherwise it's a waste of time. So your brother's really quite matter of fact about it. So I say God bless, which is what we do, isn't it? And, you know, I hope that's cheered you up somewhat. You know, it always helps, doesn't it? It always helps if we get a little message from our loved ones over there, and even if it is about sheets and they criticising your decorating abilities. Now where are we? Anybody else? I think that perhaps what we need to do is have a sort of a general message. You know, the thing is this about the horoscopes that get printed in the papers. People say that, you know, people that look at their horoscopes, there are only 12 astrological signs. Is it 12? They say, they're telling me, because I know nothing about that. And there are millions of people to, you know, that divide their star signs between themselves. So for any one star sign, you've got millions of people. So reading the millions of people's horoscope may be invalidated. But the fact is this, that them upstairs know who is going to read what. Believe me. And they have demonstrated that to me time and time again. And, you know, whenever we want to get ourselves a message, if I say to you that I will get a message then I'll get a message for anyone whose name begins with B, okay? And I will ask them for a message for anybody whose name begins with B. Dear friend, rest assured that you are loved, that those things that you are praying for will be yours in God's good time. If you are asking for your pain to be relieved, this will happen. If you are looking at an operation in the near future, then this will be successful for you. We will ask the spirits to guide the hand of those who have to look after you. We know that you will be fine, and those that you love will be looking after you too. Those that you love who are in spirit. There. So there you are. So that is a little message for you. If your name begins with a B, it's either your first name or your second name. This is what we can do, and I think we have somebody for whom that message was relevant. I do hope so, because I believe that something like that is relevant to somebody who is going to be listening to it, which seems a bit strange, but I know that it's true. The old saying, that God knows every little sparrow. So how much more does He know you? And we can explain that. You think, well, how can one God know everything? And I always describe it as, if you see God as yourself, this is not being blasphemous, but as you are. If something happens to your body, something happens to you, you are aware of it. And that is basically how I explain why God knows everything that is going on with everything and everybody, because everything is encompassed by God. Everything. So that's how we know. And I always say, well, God's very busy, and that's why we get angels and people to help us, because they're closer to us, and they're able to do the bidding of God. And that's why when we want little things, like comparatively little things, we can ask for them, because God is busy with the big things, and we're not disturbing that at all. And on the subject of angels, the angels are very busy, and when they have been shown in the Bible, for instance, they always seem to be like people. They look like people, and of course it's our very own loved ones who can be our angels, and who can do that work when they're asked. Once upon a time, I was in dire straits, and I was in an MRI machine, and I'm terribly claustrophobic, and I was having real difficulty staying in it for more than half a second. And they said to me, look, if you have to come out again, we'll have to send you home. And we'll have to send you home by ambulance, because I was in such a state. And I knew that I had to be in this machine, because the surgeon needed to see where this growth was in my head. So I sent out a prayer, and I sent out to Jesus, and I said, please, Jesus, I know you're very busy, but I'm terribly frightened. And, you know, I was going on and on about it, telling Jesus all about it. Anyway, then they sent me back into this machine. And I'd got this, you know, the thing that you squeeze when you want to come out, my hand. And I opened my eyes, and I suddenly saw who was my ex-husband, there, leaning on one arm in this tunnel with me, looking at me. And I was so shocked. And just as he was when he was down here. And I said, what are you doing here? And he said, I was asked to come. Jesus asked me to come. So I've come. And I said, but I asked him for an angel. Well, Ray stayed with me in that tunnel, chatting about this and that, children, grandchildren. And when they pulled me out, they told me I'd been there 47 minutes. And it just flew by. Just before they said they were bringing me out, he said, I'm going now. And then I heard, we're taking you out now. And I was just absolutely weeping. And they were so sympathetic to me. They thought I was wonderful, and that got a cup of tea and a chocolate biscuit. What they didn't know was that I was really weeping because I really wanted to go back in and finish my conversation. So there you are. Now, so that's why you know, people saw angels as people. So doing today. Sorry, I got into your privacy. I was going to. Sorry. No, sorry. No, I'm not into people that I don't know. I'm sorry. I only have my friends. I only have my friends. So we'll ignore that one. Sorry. But I wish you well. You know, it throws one. Now, I'm going to look at the time. Oh, Darren. Oh, of course, look, Darren Bell. Ah. Well, you see, that's the point, Darren. Like I was trying to say, it's not really general. People say that it's a general message, but it's actually specific for people who are going to be listening to it, because they know, you know, who it's going to affect. So I'm just really glad. I'm really glad, because you've actually, you know, validated what we do, and that's so important, isn't it? It just cheers people up to know. It just cheers people up to know that their loved ones and our loved ones are there looking after us and looking out for us, and that we also have guardian angels, and we have angels who may well be those loved ones, and helping us, making us feel uplifted and not so alone. And that's really important, and also the fact that we get so much help. You know, I really want people to know how much help they can get, and that's why I do what I do, and why you all do what you do. I know. So I think that we've probably finished our little chat. Oh, now I'm going to. There we are. Oh, that's really nice. Oh. Well, you know, we all have those people, you know, who wish us well in the world of spirit, and it's a marvelous thing, this spiritualism, and it's everywhere. And our New Spiritualist Society UK, welcomes people to join us. And we have a website, of course, so do have a look at that. And welcome to our spiritualist group. Now, so I think it's time that we all went and had a cup of tea, don't you? And maybe even a biscuit if we can. So I'll say God bless to you. And I'll close in prayer. Do join me if you'd like to. Great Spirit, dear Lord, we thank you for all the blessings that we've received. We thank you for the healing that we've received. We thank you for the healing and the blessings that you've given to our loved ones, both down here and over there with you. We know that you look after everybody here. We know that you look after the animals. We ask at this time for a special blessing for all those poor animals who are being tortured in laboratories at the hands of human beings who should know better. We ask you to put compassion into the hearts of those who make laws so that they may legislate against the use of animals in laboratories for vivisection. We ask you, dear Lord, to put love into the hearts of those who would hurt anybody else. We ask you that the light that you have shines into their darkness and into their ignorance and illumines their pathway, makes them better people. Please, dear God, look after all our children in this world, and we ask a special blessing on the parents of those children. We ask also for all those who are in the world of spirit. We know that your light will shine eternally upon them. We thank you so much for your love and your blessing. Amen. There. So, well, we have to really do what we can for those animals because they cannot ask us. And this time, of course, here in Cambridgeshire, we have the MBR beagles, which is near Huntingdon, and they breed beagles for transportation to vivisection laboratories, and it's just dreadful. And it's a huge global outfit. We're trying to get them closed down here in Cambridgeshire, but they're in America too, and they're everywhere. We've just got to change the way we look at using animals for our own ends for no good reason. Anyway, that's me done. That's my preaching done. I hope that you get a good night. I hope that you get a good night's sleep. I hope that your loved ones the same, and I'll speak to you again soon. And my friends, message me, and I'm thinking to do sort of some circles and things. So I will be sort of taking that forward. I know that Reverend Alan Acton and Reverend Judith Freeman are working away there in London, southeast London, to do some workshops and things, and we're going to do some stuff together in the summer, I trust. All right. A very good night to you. God bless you. Keep you safe. You want the sad news?